The 2021 Grammy nominations are in, and we're breaking down the list of potential winners. Hey guys, welcome back to another Shared News from Home. We have to talk about this year's Grammy nominations because there are some major snubs and drama. But before we get into it, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. I'm your host, Gabby Gonta, and I'm joined by the lovely Avery Grooms today. Hi, Avery.
Hi, Gabby.
All right, so the 63rd Annual Grammy Awards are right around the corner in January, and we now know the complete list of nominees. Leading the pack is our girl Beyonce, who scored the most nominations, 9 in 8 categories, including Record and Song of the Year for Black Parade. Her other Best Record nom is for her feature on Megan Thee Stallion's hit song, Savage. I think when you add Beyonce to anything, it just makes it that much better. So no surprise that she was nominated for that song. But what do we think about Beyonce absolutely leading the pack with these Grammy nominations?
You know, I am not surprised by this whatsoever. I could not imagine living in a world where Beyonce dropped an album and it wasn't nominated for a Grammy. I feel like that's just what it's expected from her. She puts so much work into all of her albums and her craft, and it really shows. And she deserves all the recognition, I think, because it's always so amazing.
It really is. I think she's going to be so happy with this news, and I'm sure we're going to see a win for at least one of these categories for her. But another star who isn't too happy with their nominations is Justin Bieber. He took to Instagram today to say thank you for his recognition, but to also clarify that his latest album, Changes, was in fact not a pop album, which is where it was nominated. He was nominated a total of 4 times: Best Pop Solo Performance for the song Yummy, Best Pop Duo Performance of Intentions featuring Quavo, Best Pop Vocal Album for Changes, and Best Country Duo Group Performance for 10,000 Hours with Dan and Shay. He said on Instagram, quote, "I set out to make an R&B album. Changes was and is an R&B album. For this not to be put into that category feels weird considering from the chords to the melodies to the vocal style all the way down to the hip hop drums that were chosen, it is undeniably, unmistakably a R&B album." He of course went on to say that he is honored to be nominated either way, but he was clearly a little upset here. So Avery, I want to know what you think. Is it this because Justin will just forever be seen as a pop artist because of his history? Did the Recording Academy really overlook these elements of R&B in his new album? Or do we really think, he should just be lucky that he was nominated at all, considering so many other artists, especially R&B artists, were not nominated? What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is just a tough situation. When you hear Justin Bieber, you automatically think pop because that's how he was introduced to all of us. And that's what he normally was doing. But I understand his frustration when he said he set out to make an R&B album. Yeah, you got that yummy, that yummy, that yummy. From all the details to the drums and the instrumentals, he really wanted this to be different. So the fact that it was overlooked has to be a little frustrating because he kind of wanted to branch out from pop. We talked about him doing some country as well. So it's hard because people get boxed into categories, especially since he's been in pop his whole entire life. And now it was his moment to branch out and it was pretty much overlooked. So I feel like it's a little sad, but at least he still got nominated for a Grammy at the end of the day,
Exactly. I think it's always tough with music and anybody who's in an artistic field. Like, music and art is so subjective, so he could have really put his all into this and thought it sounded R&B, and then the people who are on the committees for trying to choose, who they're going to nominate heard more pop sounds or just thought of him as pop because he's Justin Bieber. So it's really hard when art is subjective, and it is sad that his vision didn't necessarily come across as he originally intended, but maybe this will let the Recording Academy know to look closer next time or not try to put people in boxes so much. So this is definitely interesting. A lot of people are, telling him to just be happy he got nominated since a lot of people didn't. So, and he was clearly grateful for that, but it is good to hear his side of the story on this. One of those artists who was not nominated was The Weeknd. He wasn't nominated at all this year, despite putting out one of his best albums, including the hit Blinding Lights. We all know it. And being slotted as the 2021 Super Bowl halftime show performer. So this was a huge snub, and people are thinking it's because, just like Justin, a lot of his songs are hard to categorize into genres sometimes because they border on that pop and R&B list as well. And fans are thinking he was snubbed in the big four categories as well, like Album of the Year and Record of the Year, which he has been nominated for in the past. So Avery, what is your take on The Weeknd and how he was just completely overlooked this year?
I mean, we all know how much of a hit Blinding Lights was, and I understand that song especially can't really fall under a certain category. But once again, that's the issue with categories and genres. Maybe he just didn't want to stick to one, and clearly not. But once again, The Weeknd is such a talented artist, and I think he also deserves to be nominated. It kind of is such a downfall that just because people branch out, then that they lose their spot of even getting a Grammy, because he definitely qualifies for one. So it's just a sticky situation with the categories, you know, like artists want to take different routes and branch out, but then they don't get the credit they deserve at the end of the day. So it's kind of tough.
It's really tough. I think, no matter what, obviously the Grammys is a huge deal and those people probably know what they're talking about in music terms. But I think we're going to still be loving the Weeknd's music, Blinding Lights, everything he put out this year, no matter what. And his fans are standing by him. So I'm sure he's doing fine and is going to come out with more and more amazing music for another chance at a Grammy next year or years after that. So if you're wondering, where was Ariana Grande's Positions and other recently released songs on the list of Grammy noms, like I was, it's because they just missed the August 31st Grammys cutoff date. So sad for those, but we'll be looking out for those to be nominated next year for 2022. So Avery, I want to hear from you. Who was an artist that wasn't on this list that you wish was nominated this year?
I was thinking Tyler, the Creator, because when he dropped his album, he just received so much positive recognition from fans, from critics. But it was critically acclaimed as like a rap adjacent type album. So once again, I think it was kind of hard to categorize. Therefore, he wasn't in any of these categories. He couldn't fall under that because it was kind of a different sound. But I, once again, think he was still deserving of that. So they must have missed that. But again, with the categories, it makes things so hard, you know? But what was yours? Who do you think should have been Album of the Year?
Yeah, I love Tyler, the Creator, too. I think, again, like I didn't even realize categorizing artists was so difficult, but here it's been an issue for multiple people this year. But I would have to say Harry Styles for Album of the Year. I think this was a big year for Harry Styles. He finally got Grammy nominations at all for a couple of his songs. He'd never been recognized before for being in One Direction or even his first solo album. So it's great that he got a couple nominations this year. I'm sure fans are so happy with that. But I really think he was snubbed for Album of the Year because Fine Line was just amazing. So different than his previous work, miles away different than One Direction days. So I think he's come a long way. And I know he's celebrating those few noms that he did get, but maybe he's just not quite there yet. First Grammy year, maybe he's not ready for Album of the Year, but I'm sure he's going to come out with another great album and will be in that category again soon. But all right, guys, that's all we have for you today in Grammy news, but we want to know your thoughts. So let us know in the comments, what did you think of this Grammy nominations list? Do you agree with Justin? Did we hear his music wrong, or should he just be lucky that he was nominated? Let us know, and let us know which artist you would have wanted to see in which category that isn't there this year. Before you go, make sure you subscribe to our channel and ring the bell because we'll be back talking all things music news in the future. I'm your host, Gabby Gonta, and you can follow me on socials at Gabby Gonta. And Avery, where can they find you?
You could follow me on socials at Avery Grooms.
Awesome. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Bye.